Hello, so this is the Module 8 Reflective Blog, and I have notes, so I will be looking down. So the first question is, what is the role of self-awareness in family assessment? So according to the reading, the family worldview shared by clients and social workers act in harmony and reinforce normative definitions of family structure and functions. Social workers can also represent community values about families that may not be shared by the client. But the social worker has to be careful with the second part, to not push their beliefs onto the client and not feel like they're forcing the client to believe in what they do. Really, what it's supposed to do is just introduce them to a new perspective that they may not have been used to in the past. The second question is, how does cultural values influence beliefs and values about family membership and family functioning? So I believe if family members do not share the same beliefs and values with each other, this can create a barrier between them. Especially if you are a part of a more closed-minded family, and you're sharing your beliefs and they feel that you're pushing those beliefs on them, I believe this can create a wall, which will then create a lack of communication. But vice versa, I also believe that if you share the same values as your family, that is also something that can bring the family closer together and more in harmony. Um, so I think with dealing with a more closed-minded family, that's where it really comes into play, because not everyone is going to share the same beliefs with each other. If you do, that's pretty impressive, especially if you're now an adult with your family. But I believe like with open-minded, it really can be something that's beneficial. Just because learning new perspectives is always a way to make us more rounded individuals. So like I said, closed-minded may not be the result that you want, but with an open-minded family, I believe it can be very helpful. So next I'm answering the questions about the video that we watched for this section. So it says, what personal beliefs and values about family membership and functioning were you made aware of while watching the video? One of the things I really noticed is that the family only paid attention to the two boys that were the sons of the husband and wife that were there, and overlooked Andy when he was talking about his accomplishments, because everyone was so excited for the two sons when they were sharing like everything that they were doing. And when Andy talked about his, they were mildly interested, and they kind of started making negative comments about his line of work and what he was wanting to do. So I believe it's just kind of like a favoritism battle in a sense. But anyways, and then the fourth is, what beliefs and values about family membership and functioning do the illustrated family have? So I said that they don't seem to communicate well and automatically get defensive and come back with negativity when a comment is made about them. So they're all communicating and they're talking to each other. They're not being silent. But one of the main things that went on in the video is if, let's say Andy got a negative comment made towards him, he went right back and attacked with a negative comment towards someone else. And this is just creating that kind of snowball effect of, well, they said a negative comment, so I'm going to say a negative comment. And then it just kept going and going and going until everyone was just to a point where they're absolutely heated, which is not healthy. The other question said, would working with this family challenge your own personal views about family membership and functioning? No. As social workers, we're going to work with a lot of different family systems and family functioning and family issues. And I feel as though we can't allow that to impact our own beliefs, because that's not what's going on in our home. Like, yes, we're having to deal with it. Yes, we're having to come up with solutions for it. But I think making it personal can be harmful. So I wouldn't let it affect my views. If the situation is bad, of course, I'll feel bad. and I'll try to help the family as best as I can, but I won't let that change my perspective on things. And then the other question is, what would you like to do to build an authentic relationship with this family? I just want to break down the communication barriers that are very evident. I think if they can learn to talk to each other, so many problems would be solved, because everyone was kind of coming around with valid points, but those points were making other people defensive. And then that's where the lack of communication came in, and that's why the fighting started. And that kind of ties into the last question of, what specialized assessment strategy would you use with this family, and why would you choose this strategy? I would really like to record the family interacting with their consent, of course. And I guess long enough to where they kind of forget they're being recorded, so a more authentic version of what's going on is apparent. But I would really like to record them, their interactions, and then in the next session go back and replay that video for them and kind of break down their communication with each other. So, like just have them watch themselves and pause the video and be like, hey, what did you see was wrong here? How can we fix that? Why did you automatically get defensive? Because sometimes we get so in the moment that it's hard when we look back to understand why we said what we said, why we reacted the way we did. So I feel like if, it can be logically broken down, a lot of problems could be fixed. So, yeah.